Join us for an immersive experience that redefines leadership through the lens of strategic rest in Greensboro, North Carolina, June 6th through the 8th, 2025. We'll see you there.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Power Nap Live. It is Sunday. It's 10:05, but that's okay. We are here and we're ready to chat. Every week I ask you, Dr. K, how you doing?
I'm tired. I'm very, very tired. It's been a long week of work and events, and yeah, it's a lot.
It has. So one of the things, so I'm back in Texas now, but I spent majority of the week actually in Greensboro, North Carolina. I feel like who used to sing that song when they used to go North Carolina?
Pablo.
Is he from North Carolina? Okay, P. Pablo, shout out to you, my friend, for that song. Okay, but whatever the case is, I spent most of the week in North Carolina. We had some clients that wanted us to do a facilitation on strategic rest and in leadership, which if you are part of a group or corporation or nonprofit or city or whatever it is that wants to invest in the well-being of your folks that you work with, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. But either way, we got to spend a lot of the week together, and we had a time was had. Okay, so for most of our viewers may not know this, but Dr. K and I actually live in different cities. Like we do all of this like virtually. I'm sure you can tell some things, but we actually do not live in the same place, and so we work really hard to kind of like ensure that we connect with each other so that we stay in sync about the things that we're doing, and that's a huge part of strategic rest, right? So we had a really great session with a fantastic HR group. I won't, tell you much more of that. But one of the things that they talked about, or two things that I want us to talk about today, and I'm going to let you be able to share your thoughts on this. Two big points came out of that session for me. Okay. One was boundaries. So I need us to get some people together around boundaries and strategic rest, because to me they go hand in hand. They skip to the loop together. Okay. And the second part that really inspired me this week as we spent time together doing work, and then of course, just being friends, if that makes sense, was also community. So I want us to start with boundaries because I think it will provide some foundation to community. So talk to me a little bit about how you feel boundaries support strategic rest. That's
yeah. Because I wore my Bold with Boundaries shirt. I was very intentional about wearing that shirt. I think, well, not think, but I know, at least for me, boundaries has to start with some level of self-awareness, right? Because I think back to prior to my self-awareness journey, thinking I had boundaries, but there were boundaries based on someone else's awareness of my life. And that wasn't working for me, right? So I was literally confined in the boundaries that I thought I created on my own, but it was really based on what other people were telling me I need to have in place. And so as I got older and more into the self-awareness journey and more now, boundaries is about communication, right? It's one thing for you to have them, but if you don't communicate them to people, they won't know, hey, I can't go in there. Right? and then you get mad when they come in there and you're like, you're not respecting my boundaries, but you never communicated your boundaries to me. And boundaries can be a lot of different things, right? And I think also boundaries need to be both externally for folks, but also boundaries for yourself. Like, what are your internal boundaries? And for me, that resides more in my self-talk. So I have boundaries around how I talk to myself. Yeah. So when I begin to have those beliefs that are negative about what I can and cannot do, I know I'm crossing a boundary for myself.
Mm. Give me an example of what it sounds like for you to set boundaries about how you talk to yourself. Like, give me
Yeah.
an example of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this week, um, I'm a professor. I make doctoral candidates into doctors, right?
Yes.
I teach doctoral students and reading dissertations. It's a lot, right? And then having a business, and just this week has been just overloaded with a lot of peopling.
Yeah.
And so the negative self-talk I would say is I don't have time, I don't want to be around people.
Mm,
Like people drain me.
mm,
And I used to say that a lot, which kept me from doing a lot of social things or being out in the open. And at the moment that thought kind of came, I said, nope, I get to read these dissertations. It may take me a little longer than expected, and that's okay because I'm creating the space for it.
mm,
I get to go to this networking event that I co-hosted or co-collaborated with,
mm.
so that I can meet new folks. So I literally had to shift my language
Yes.
before I even went down that spiral of people drain me. Because it's not that people drain me; it's that I've allowed circumstances around to pull rather than finding ways to rest and not rest more in the physical space, but in the mental space to think clearly so that I can do all these things.
Absolutely. Literally, that shift from I have to I get to changes the game, but it also changes just like we're asking people to do or showing, not asking. Listen, you can do whatever you want to do. We're inviting you,
Yeah.
which is one of Dr. K's big phrases, but we're inviting you to practice strategic risk. We are inviting you to do that. And in order to do it, like we shared with the practitioners that we talked to this week, we told them you have to become someone that you have never been. You
Mhm.
have to be, you don't have to, but you decide to be someone who practices strategic risk. And
Yeah.
when you do that, your actions will start to reflect who you choose to be, right? I just think it's so powerful when we talk about that have, be, do. And I'm probably saying it wrong because to me, you do it so much better. So I'm gonna have you share a little bit about that. But one of the pieces, I cannot think of the book right now. I'm gonna do better about thinking of what I'm talking about. You always, to me, we always play this game of like, what am I talking about? Whatever the case is. There's this book that I read not too long ago, and it really was, I think it was maybe about habits of highly effective people.
Atomic Habits
Atomic Habits.
by James Clear. Yeah, that's a popular one.
Here, yes, Atomic Habits. So, one of the things that I love the most about Atomic Habits is really that it's centered around the fact that we are the things that we do are centered around the beliefs that we have about ourselves,
Yep.
right? Now listen, one of the things that you will hear me say is sis is a big girl. Okay, you're not gonna never hear me not be like, okay. So but to start asking myself, so because I believe that, are my habits aligned around that, right?
Mhm.
I believe I'm an author. So are my habits aligned around that? And they are. I wrote a book and I'm looking to write other books, right? I am an expert in leadership. So do my habits like align with that? So when we think about that piece, to me, strategic rest is not just something you do, it's who you become,
Mhm.
right? And when you become someone, when I become a person who practices strategic rest, then I can't help but have things that start to align with that.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about the do, be, have, and the victim, and tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that.
So a lot of these things come from a coaching space, right? So as an executive coach and always learning, picking up new tools and strategies. And the BD have it's nothing new. It's been in different leadership style books, maybe worded differently. And so it's around the concept of where you want to get to is I want to be this person.
Yeah.
and who do I have to become to be this person? And based
Mm,
off of that, then what actions do I need to take? And the having will just come naturally, right?
mm,
Oftentimes people are in one of two spaces. They are, oh, I have to have all of these things, whatever all
mhm,
of those things are. Then I
mhm,
can do this, whatever the action is, and then I'll be what I want to be.
mhm.
And I find people in those spaces, they're playing victim, right? Because
Whew.
you're literally saying, "Oh, I have to have all the time, I have to have all the money, I have to have all the people in place before I can start creating my LLC, writing curriculum, etc. Then I can be the entrepreneur, I can be the speaker." And
Right.
then they do. What I find is most of people start getting all those things, and they take so long to even get to where they want to be. So when they
Mhm,
get there, they're like, I don't even want to be this.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And then you have the folks that start off with, I'm just going to do all these things. So I see Dr. Wilson, traveling more in first class. So I'm going to start doing that. And thinking that doing that lends to me having all the things that I need to be.
Mhm, mhm,
Those are the workers. They're constantly worker bees. They're
mm.
constantly in the space of I have to do so that I can have, and then I can be rested. I can be the entrepreneur. I can be
Yeah.
the parent I want to be.
Yeah.
Focus needs to be flipped to first you need to decide who you want to be.
Mm.
And then the actions and the having will just come. You'll have things that you didn't even think that you can have because you started with who I need to become. But it
Yes.
requires you to shift your mindset because you're becoming someone you've never been before.
First, you have to decide who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, and we're saying that for strategic rest, but you can apply that across the math. Be mathing. What I want to be. If I decide what that is and then move forward after that, right? Then those other things come. It's not just, oh, I've got to wait until my kids grow up to be able.
Mm,
Oh, I gotta wait till my husband does whatever the thing is he's doing. Oh, I gotta wait till my wife does this,
yeah.
right? Because if you constantly wait and kind of stay in that victim piece, then you never get to the space that you want to get to, right?
Yeah.
I was telling somebody that the other day. It's just like there is no right. Like it looks how it looks, and it looks different for you. We were saying that in the session. Someone was talking about how, oh, my schedule, the traditional way that people do this, and I kept telling her, just because someone else is doing it that way doesn't mean you have to do it that way, right? Um, One of the things that also really stood out to me in our session with that group around boundaries was how someone else's boundaries can start a movement.
Yeah. Yeah. People create culture.
People create culture, and if you want to, we are inviting you. This is what this is about. We are inviting you to practice strategic rest. However, when you do it, especially leaders, when
Mhm.
leaders strategically rest, it changes something in the atmosphere. It changes cultures. It disrupts things. And Dr. K love a good disruption. Okay. We on the line with the disruptive scholar over here. So it disrupts things for people in the best way. We
Mhm.
had at the client that we were at, one of the participants in the group shared that she had started to take her lunchtime seriously.
Mhm.
She and her husband happen to work at the same place. And so when lunchtime comes around, she chucks the dude. What's that little I always laugh at that meme where the person like walks off with like it's like and then
Oh
walks
yeah.
off. So her little heels be clickety clacking in on her way to go have lunch with her boo. Okay. She kept going, my bag, every time she would talk about him. But she has lunch with him every day, right? And it's their time. They have small kids. So she was like, this is my time to really like lock into him. We laugh, we talk, we catch up on stuff that we need to so that so we know what we're doing with the rest of our week, with our day, whatever the case is. But she said, I need that. I literally need that to get to the day.
Mhm.
And people were making me feel guilty about it, right?
Mhm.
About something she needed. So she, of course, said, without realizing that that's what she was doing, practicing strategic rest, setting boundaries, assessing what she needed, okay, nurturing and building a community around it, prioritizing what she needed. Okay, that was the NAP framework for folks who haven't read the book, and that's why we're here. But whatever the case is, not only did she get what she needed in order to be more productive in the office by being able to have that lunch with her husband, but what she showed was once she started doing it, other people started to take their lunch breaks seriously too. Mm-hmm. It started to show up better in the workplace, to be able to be more creative, to be more innovative, and ultimately show up as the best versions of themselves. Yeah. That's why we're inviting you to strategically rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the other piece in that example was when we started looking at the assessing part, right?
Yes.
And having them, go through the day, a typical work day, and how they thought, what they were feeling, and what they were doing during certain times. And that same person, when she listed out hers, that lunchtime was the only joyful moment in her day. Mm-hmm. And how she would come to work stressed or whatever the case it may be, lunch, yay, then go back and like, oh, right. And so what I told her was, what are the elements of having lunch with your husband that bring you joy?
Yeah.
And when she started listing those out, I then said, where else can you place those elements throughout your workday so that when they happen, it's like you're with your husband, so to speak. Mm. And another individual that was there said, bring donuts, because she mentioned food. She loved the fact that, at lunch, I'm eating good food, right? Mm-hmm. And so someone mentioned bringing donuts to the office and just mm-hmm. putting them out at a certain time, etc. And something clicked. I saw it clicked in her. And if I have donuts and I go eat donuts, I'm thinking about, food. I love food with my husband, etc. I'm feeling joyful. And then people start to come up. And now you're able to have different conversations with people. And so it goes back to this idea of I'm only doing things that bring me joy. Mm. How, if it's one particular thing or several things to bring you joy, how are the elements of that experience can be transferred in different aspects of my life, right? Absolutely. So that joy memory is still there.
Yes. And that the framework in our book allows you to be able to walk through that so that you understand it, right? That as you become deeper, as you practice strategic rest deeper, you'll start to really understand, number one, the things that bring you rest, because we all know it's not just sleep that bring you rest. And then you'll start to dissect it about what about it brings me rest so that you can start to add more of it to your day, to your week, to your month, to your year, and ultimately to your life. And that is incredibly important. Listen, one of the other things, and I cannot, because it was a core memory for me. And I told you this, I will never, ever. So she may not ever see this show, and that's just fine. But there was this lady named Carla at the oh my goodness, at the session that we did. Yes, at the session that we did for people around strategic rest. And Carla showed me her book. Okay, she held up her book, our book, Strategic Rest and Leadership. If you haven't got your copy, what are you doing? Okay, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it from us, you can get it from Barnes and Nobles, you can get it from wherever, okay, because we dumb girls. But whatever the case is, she showed me her book, y'all. And this woman had highlighted this book. She had tabs in the book. She had Post-it notes all in the book. She said, I ate this book down. She said, y'all wrote this, okay? And y'all, I wanted to literally cry. There are moments I still can't believe that we wrote a book that's really transforming people's lives, but I'm so grateful. Oh my goodness. So grateful for the ability to be able to do that. But Carla, I will never forget Carla, because that moment just meant everything to me, to see how much she loved the book. And then also she read it before our session. So she came in ready to refine her practices around the NAP framework and saying she had already implemented some of the things. So she was telling people, I see the difference, right? And I won't tell a story that she told that had me really cracking up. But whatever the case is, I'm so grateful for the opportunity for people to see the NAP framework and to have invited them to live it.
Yeah. Which I think it has a smooth transition to this idea of community, right? Because you
Yes.
didn't know Carla before resting and writing this book. And now that you rested and wrote this book, you and Carla has now been attracted to your rest, i.e. because of the workshop, but that's a part of community now. And when we think about strategic rest, it will do things for you that you haven't been bold enough to do for yourself. And what
Ooh, say
I
that
mean
again.
by is
Wait.
rested, it automatically deter how can I put it? It automatically removes people, and I've said this before,
Yeah.
that are in conflict with your rest.
Whew.
So when you think about people in your life, workplace, personal, professional, whatever,
Yeah.
and they are attached to you because of your habits.
Mm-hmm.
And when your habits shift, i.e., I'm becoming more restful in different spaces, they have to remove themselves because they are no longer attached to that. Because
Mm-hmm.
one, that means it forces them to rest and they don't want to do that.
Right.
And so the moment you become who you want to be, even if it's a restful person, you will eliminate the folks that are no longer needed in your life for the season that you're in and about to be in. And I said
And and it's just not the elimination, because here's the thing: you eliminate those folks, but then you start to pick up people who
yes.
are who are attracted to your ability to understand rest and to practice strategic rest.
Mhm.
And then those people start to become your folks, right? That when you need to, and I hate to say it, but we always do go back to that sweet magnolia situation, but when you need to pour it out, these
Yeah.
are the people who are there and able to understand the rest that you need.
Yeah.
And that you're able to create spaces for other people to be able to rest,
Yeah.
right? To be intentional about the rest that they seek and the places in which they do it, and creating communities around rest. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
When we finished our session and folks looked at us and we asked them how they were doing, and folks looked at us and said, literally, this session rested us, right? Like, provided rest. I feel empowered. I feel ready to do the next thing. I feel like I can do whatever comes at me now because I understand strategic rest. Y'all could have, that was it. I think I walked out and told you I don't need nothing else. I said, I don't need nothing else. If the Lord don't do nothing else from this moment
It's not
forward,
enough.
he's done enough. Okay, enough. He's done enough, is what I was about to say. But yes, absolutely.
I think the other piece to that is, though they came to the workshop, the session, read the book, etc., is that they know that there's still work to be done. And
Mm,
one of the feelings or the atmosphere that was given was this real therapy movement or space, um, but not like your typical therapy session, right? And I
yeah,
think that's important, at least for me, because a lot of times when we think of therapy, we visualize it as, oh, I'm sitting in somebody's chair and they're about to prescribe me or diagnose me with something.
yes.
Therapy can be a lot of different things, right? And what we provided and how we provide the space for strategic rest is therapy for folks. And so, in that, there's work that still has to be done. They have to be committed to it. And I think, in the beginning of the session, we talk about agreements, right? Moving beyond expectations, but walking in agreements with folks. And,
Yes.
when you read the book, part of that sense is I make an agreement with myself, with these authors, because we, say, hey, we're building a community around this. We want to support you in this space. And so the more you're rested in different areas of your life, as I see in the comments, yes, it attracts the people that need to be connected to be connected to you, right?
Mhm.
Because how can I pour it out if everyone around me is unrested?
Woo. And listen, it's 10:30, so we gotta end it. Right there. I mean, I hate to do it. Every time we come, we be cooking, and then 10:30 comes. So listen, let us know if you guys no, we're not committing to an hour, but whatever the case is, I'm always glad that you guys are here. Listen, if you want more of this, remember we have our strategic rest summit in June. It's coming up. Those tickets are still there. I think we have a few tickets still left, so please don't hesitate to get your ticket today. We have VIP, okay? Because y'all know anything with me, we gonna have some VIP, okay? The people who have VIP tickets will have the opportunity to do some other special things outside of it. But even if your budget right now is set for one of our regular tickets, please don't hesitate to go and get that. You can get your ticket, the few that are left, at thestrategicrest.com, okay? It is going to be amazing. It's going to be a small, intensive group of people who are there to not just work on the NAP framework or work through the NAP framework, but to become a community of people who hold each other and to create rest around what other people are doing. And so we want to provide that. Listen, we're about to go, but I got to tell you, we went while I was in North Carolina, we went to go walk through our venue again, okay, for the Strategic Rest Summit. And y'all, I got chill. What do they call goosebumps? I don't know, whatever kind of bumps, because it's absolutely beautiful. We've got spaces for you to kick it. We'll have vendors there for you to be able to have a good time and to relax and enjoy your time. But mostly, we are really going to create relationships around rest and ensure that you have a space to be able to leave recharged and ready to lead in your life. So all right, folks, there's our time for today. We will see you again, same place, same time, 10 o'clock, Sundays, 11 o'clock if you're on the east. If you're feeling easty is what I'll say. 11 o'clock if you're feeling in the east. And have a good week, y'all. Make sure that you strategically rest and make good decisions. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Yes. Join us for an immersive experience that redefines leadership through the lens of strategic rest in Greensboro, North Carolina, June 6th through the 8th, 2025. We'll see you there.